Hey guys, Chris here with Black Rifle Survival, back with another knife review. Today we're checking out the Bark River knives. I believe this is the Bravo 1. I'll have to double check that. But anyways, stay tuned. We're going to go ahead and test this knife out, and I'll give you the inside scoop of how I got this. Don't go anywhere. Alright guys, so as I mentioned, we have a new knife here by Bark River. This is the first Bark River I've ever held before. I've seen pictures, I've seen a few channels reviewing them. These are some really nice handmade knives here in the USA. Now, I was gifted this knife for this review only, so I'm just letting you guys know ahead of time, I don't get to keep this knife. This is not my property. This knife actually belongs to Joe Mobley of Feral Woodcraft. Thank you, buddy, so much. I appreciate you letting me review your knife on my channel. And actually, after I'm done with this review, I'm sending it off to another channel, Survivotech. He's also a member of the Outdoor Arena. If you guys want, I will provide links down below to these channels. But I also wanted to let you know how I got this in my hands. It was pretty cool. I got to meet up with John with the Wingman 115 channel, and he hooked a brother up. So thank you, John, for getting this to me. I appreciate it. And thank you, Joe, for letting me test your knife. Alright guys, so let's talk about the specs. First off, you'll see it comes with this nice leather sheath. Just ignore my ugly ferro rod. I've beat the crap out of that thing. This is high grade leather, stamped with Bark River knives, somewhere in Michigan, USA. Nice stitching on the back. The welts are really clean without the ferro rod in the way. Sorry guys, this is kind of an on-the-fly review. I wanted to get this knife out. This is a cool opportunity for me to check it out. I really like this, I want to call it honeycomb pattern with those holes punched in there. That's really cool. I like that. I already know I'm going to be buying a Bark River. Maybe not this model, but we'll see. We'll see if my mind is swayed. And I'm out here already filming with the Mora Garberg, so you know, but then getting to hold this sucker. Whew. Well, anyways, let's talk a little bit about the knife now that the sheath is out of the way. But definitely a nice sheath. Okay, so the steel on this knife, if you guys can see this all right, it's 3V. So we've got CPM 3V. Sorry, I have to read the specs because I'm not too familiar with this one. I'm seeing a drop point, thumb ramp. I'll get to those specs in a second here. So, the blade is 4.250 in thickness. It's a beefy blade. The overall length of this knife is pretty long. 9 inches, 0.065. There's no extended pommel, everything is flush. I might have to move you guys out in the sunlight so you can see these micarta handles. They're actually linen, and they are beautiful. I'm definitely going to be getting some linen micarta. This is just a very awesome pattern, highly polished. I mean, that's just awesome. Nice pins in here, everything's flush. Go ahead and zoom in here on that thumb ramp. It's got kind of a convex, I want to say a high saber grind. I'm not exactly sure, but it's really nice. Looks like it split wood really good. I want to say high saber grind, but I'm not exactly sure. I do know they have scanty grinds and full flat grinds. I've seen them on their page. Again, I'll provide the links, especially for this one. We've got made in the USA, of course. I like to review USA made products. Getting a feel for the knife, I'm just squeezing it right now. It doesn't have a hot spot, I'm being honest. I do feel a little pressure, but it's not something that would kill my hand. It's very, very comfortable. I don't know how this would be when it gets super wet. Right now my hands are kind of tacky, it's a little humid. It's a cooler day, thank God. So it's been brutal lately. Thumb ramp's kind of aggressive with that jimping. However, it does keep your finger locked in there. It's not going anywhere. We've got some cool, I don't know if I want to say that's flared out. If you guys can see that. That keeps your hand nice and locked in. It's really comfortable that way. There is a bit of contouring. There's a bit of a swell. It's a very slender knife for the size. It does have a cool lanyard hole here if you wanted to put some paracord or some jute through there. Maybe a strap of leather. It's your preference. Beautiful knife. Good length on the handle. Good length on the blade. So I was already talking about that thumb ramp. Already I don't like that. It's a little too aggressive. Maybe with gloves it's a different story. But if I press hard enough, I'm going to use my left hand because I don't. I'm just going to press and show you my thumbprint here. See? That's about as much pressure as I'd be using if I'm pushing it through some wood. For example, that's pretty painful. And it's still there. So, if you guys are watching at Bark River, if you guys want, I don't know, you could take my suggestion or not, but just lighten up just a tad on the jimping. That's just my only nitpicking it. But other than that, this is a gorgeous knife. I'll definitely be buying one from your company, so. Damn, Joe, thank you for sending this to me, man. Wow. Alright guys, well let's go test out this CPM 3V. Really curious to do this. Let's do it. Alright guys, so with ultimate caution, water aside, fire extinguisher in the Jeep, ready to go. I know there's a no burn restriction. I do want to test the ferro rod. I'm not going to start a fire. I'm just going to show you guys that you can throw a spark. Since this did come with the ferro rod holder, obviously you want to make sure the knife can throw a spark. A lot of people like using ferrocerium rods. I'm a big fan myself. That and traditional fire steels. So without further ado, I'm going to move you guys down to the ground, clear out a nice area just so I can throw a couple sparks. We'll continue on with the test. Alright guys, I'm actually going to pull my glasses off so I can see the screen. Now ultimately out here in California, we're trying to be responsible. I practice, you know what I preach. I'm not going to say, oh, go out and, practice starting a fire. Just be aware of your environment, take extra precautions, clear out your area, just the general, common sense. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and do this. Testing out the fire steel. So let's get this Bark River knife out. Now, first thing I notice is these edges are rounded. It's not a very sharp spine. So if I can find an area near the front drop point, see if that'll spark. If it doesn't, I'm not going to stress about it. You guys know I know how to use a ferro rod. But as you can see, this ferro rod is beat to crap. It's about on its last edge. Okay, you guys can see it spark. Barely. The edge is not very sharp. Let's try the tip here. Okay, it'll throw sparks. I'm actually getting kind of nervous doing this out here. There's so much pine needle. And this is what I use for, blowing up a bird's nest. Just all this dry pine. It's just everywhere here. So, ferro rod, it does work. It's a bit difficult. The spine needs to be a little sharper, especially for the placement when I'm holding it up higher. That's just my general notes. So let's move on to the next test. Okay guys, so let's go ahead and do some carving tasks. I'm gonna try to find a piece of stick. Nice one here. Piece of stick, a stick. Alright. First initial impressions, I'm wearing gloves. Really slippery. Okay. If I grip it, it's not going anywhere, but it's very slick. This is definitely a bare-handed type of polished handle. Wouldn't recommend it with these type of gloves. Maybe with something with leather or a little tackier. But I'm just letting you know right now, with dry gloves and a dry knife, this is pretty slippery. But The only good thing I'm noticing now is that the thumb ramp is not hurting my thumb with that jimping. So that's cool. You know, but whatever. Anyways, guys, let's start bringing this stick down. I'm gonna go ahead and just do some cuts just because. Holy moly. Okay guys, right off the bat, it's definitely convexed. But I mean, it is just biting in like a Scandi grind. We're testing different areas. Now, I don't know if Jonathan reprofiled or sharpened or did anything to it. I tilt you guys down so you can see what I'm doing. And we'll start at the tip here. As you guys can see, I'm trying to do some nice push cuts. I'm just gonna walk my way up the blade. This is biting in, working with a piece of pine. Got some birds came to visit me. They wanted to see the Bark River knife. I'm climbing all the way up, using the whole section. Sharp as a razor. Let's clear this off. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, just the way that this is cutting, this is excellent. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but when you're working around pine especially, you'll see these cool little carving patterns. That's actually not good because these are the pine beetles and they've been killing a lot of the pine trees. So that's kind of a telltale sign. And generally where there's these, you'll find a lot of fat wood because they're in the process. Oh man, I've got some visitors. Hold on guys, see if I can get you guys zoomed up here. That's pretty cool, they came to watch the show. Look like little finches. Okay guys, so without further distractions, I'm gonna keep filming here. Maybe I'll have to switch out batteries. I actually lost my train of thought. That's what's cool about being out here is, you know, you get exposed to sights and sounds that don't involve traffic or stress. It's just you and the camera, well, me and you guys. That's what it's all about. So, back to the carving test. I was mentioning that this grind is just biting in. Yeah, it has a bit of a convex edge to it, but that's no worries. Oh, I was talking about pine beetles, that's why. But usually where you find this pine beetle destroyed wood, you're going to find fat wood because the tree, as these beetles enter, sends sap like crazy to these branches to seal them off. But usually it's too late. But regardless, if you guys are hunting fat wood, these are good signs. This is not a fat wood piece though, it's just regular pine. Okay. So, I'll stretch my back a little bit. Oh yeah, feels good. It's a nice little breeze out here. Another test. I actually do need to saw a piece of dead wood somewhere so we can baton it, feather it. I'm gonna use the same piece. Move you guys down here. So come along. Let me get my pads for my knees. There's too much sap everywhere. It's good stuff, smells good, but it's hard to get out of your clothes. Alright, so working with some limited resources in this area, at least for deadfall. I have picked up, well, you guys are watching me carve that. Just found some more deadfall, just little twigs. I'm going to use this as my baton. And we're going to go ahead and debark this real fast. It's not coming off like I thought it was. Usually this stuff just slides right off. Well, in any regards, I'll just use the blade. There it goes. Every now and then I do have to look up and around me because there are mountain lions out here. I am by myself and I don't have my firearm. Partly because I don't have my concealed carry and I don't have a hunting license yet. So, I have to keep my head on a swivel. Alright, so now I've got a Y stick. If I was making something, I could set it up on here. There's no pommel and I'm not going to be banging on this. It's too pretty of a knife. So, let's do some feathers here just to give you guys an idea. Well, tell you what, we're going to baton this sucker first. One thing I do notice with the steel, it's excellent. I mean, it's just, nothing's really sticking to it, not even sap. Well, that's dry wood, but I stabbed some fat wood earlier with it. But let's baton this here. Okay, it's really rotted, and I don't know if I can feather this, guys. It's just snapping. Let's try, damn, that's the thing, because if I take down some green wood, I'll be able to do that, but yeah, this is just, everything's rotted, completely rotted. Let me see if I can find a piece that's not so gone. Well, when in doubt, you can always saw off a piece of fat wood from a stump. So at least that's not rotting. I do have another small piece here. Alright, so where were we? That's right, guys, batoning. I think I'll use this as my baton. We are going to do some chopping first. So, now the weight on this knife, I'm feeling it, holding it up further. It's got some good swing and weight to it. This isn't a lighter knife, it's mid-range. I've held enough knives to know that this has got enough chopping power. Now I've heard it choke back. Again, this is pretty slippery, so I'm trying not to hit any rocks if there are any out here. I just want a big ass pine cone to fall down and hit me in the head. Yeah, the ones out here, those will really hurt you. So as you guys can see, it's chopping through it real nice. Just breaking it. Again, it's pine, it's not hard oak or any hardwood for that nature. But now we're gonna get into, let's see, batoning some fat wood out. Start at the bottom here. Split that right in half. Not so saturated. It still smells, but go ahead and smash this one too. Go down the middle. Now, with this particular shape, so you can see there's clearance, so it's just going right past the blade. It's not even touching it. You can see how it's wedging it apart. That's awesome. So, batoning, this knife does great. Same thing with this one. Okay, so got 4 pieces of fat wood. That'd be great for starting your fire. Let's go ahead and find a spot I can start feathering on here. It's feathering the bark off of it right now. If this wasn't so dry. Now that thumb ramp, this is where this comes into play. I'm definitely, well, I'm slipping down, but my thumb's catching on the hilt. the chipping's biting in, and that's giving me enough pressure to push down. So just light pressure and it is feathering really nicely. Let's try another piece of fresher wood, see what we can do with this one. Just make a base on the boards here. Something to lean on. Keep hearing crushing in the bushes, or crashing. So I know I'm not the only one out here. No matter where I put this blade, it bites in. Or if I'm doing push cuts, the smaller stuff. I really don't have a select piece of wood to work with. I'm just using my baton here. Yeah, the spine needs to be sharper though. Alright guys, well, I'm going to move on to another test. I think I'm going to do some chopping on a down branch, see how many chops it takes to get through it using the Bravo knife. Bark River. This knife, when you want to send it home, it wants to bite. That's for sure. Alright guys, let's try some other tests here. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and chop through this dead branch here. Should be pretty good. See what we can do. Whoa. Already with my gloves, I was up here. It just slipped forward to this one. So, yeah, it's doing it again. Not the best with the gloves. Just the handle material. I mean, it looks great, but I'm sure maybe, let me just take a glove off so I can stop complaining about how much it's slipping. Night and day difference, guys. No gloves. A little bit of shock. But it's biting in if I can hit it. Couple more. Yeah, with that convex, it wants to deflect a lot. Yeah, I can definitely feel it want to skip off. But it chopped alright. Alright guys, well I don't want to complain about battery problems, but I'm running low on one and I need to run back to the car, which is a ways away, to get another battery pack. So I'm going to conclude this review on the Bark River Bravo. Again, this is a great knife. I mean, it's just absolutely beautiful. Now, performing test, the grind was excellent. I wasn't a fan of the jimping. Pros and cons. I mean, they do balance out with this type of knife. I know they offer different ones on their website at Bark River, so I'm probably going to be checking out a few different kinds. Maybe something that's more bushcrafting. This kind of seems like a survival / hunting knife, at least in my opinion. I mean, it performed for what I asked it to do, and it did so flawlessly. Comfort wise, it feels good. It does, and with gloves on it's a little slippery, but it still feels good. Not a lot of shock. The jimping's killing my thumb though, just being honest guys. And it stayed very sharp. There's no nicks or rolls or any imperfections on the blade itself. You can see some staining, that's from sap. That's just the fat wood. But I'll go ahead and clean that up before I send it off. That 3V, CPM 3V, is some really tough stuff. High quality steel for sure. It's really balanced. I mean, it's really not wanting to swing anywhere. It's, I mean, centered right on the hilt. I just can't grab it with the design. But the weight's fluid, great for chopping, a little slippery, but looks good, so it makes up for it. Anyways guys, I'm gonna cut this short here. Battery's flashing red on me. But this is Chris with Black Rifle Survival. If you like the content of this video and the reviews like this, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. And if you want, leave a comment in the box below. I'll get back to you guys, I promise. I know I've been coming out with lack of content lately, but I'm trying to make up for that now with quality knives, quality reviews, shooting in a quality location. That's what's important to me, and what's important to you guys. Obviously, you wouldn't be watching me if you didn't like what I was doing. So, I gotta say, Joe, this knife is awesome. I told you I wasn't gonna beat the crap out of it. I did put it through some tests, and it passed. So, John, the Wingman 115 channel, thank you for getting this to me. And Joe with Feral Woodcraft, I'm gonna get this knife over to Jude with Survival Tech and let him play around with this for a little bit and see what his thoughts are. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys on the next video. Have a good day.